Hey guys, welcome in. It is the Sportscast here brought to you by the Outspoken Network. We've got your host, Brian Craig, on today, and we got a special guest, Paul from the Bear Ski Films show on here as well. Welcome in, Paul.
Hey, thanks, man.
All right, guys. I don't know why that screen's still like that, but okay. All right, I got us live on Facebook, so that should be good. Um, we're here. We're going to talk about the playoffs. All right. We are going to talk.
There we go.
Um, we've, we've got the divisional round. All right. I don't know how y'all did in your picks last week. I was 5-1, feeling pretty good about that. This week we got should be some pretty good games. We're down to four games, and unfortunately the season is dwindling, and it seems like it just started. Um, neither. Well, I mean, I'm saying neither of our all any of our teams made the playoffs, but we did. We just didn't show up last week against the
Yeah.
Eagles.
Last thing I
So
want to talk about is the regular season.
yeah,
so, um,
I bet it's one
definitely
for you guys
excited to
and
talk
the
about some
Cowboys fans
postseason. Yeah,
to
for sure.
to
But
to not want to go through again. But I digress. We might get in a little bit of a coaching stuff, Craig. I know you're excited about that Kellen Moore coming back or all those rumors. But we'll get into that too. But let's get into the playoff games tomorrow, guys. The first game of the weekend is Saturday at 3:30. It's going to be the Texans going to the Chiefs, and we've talked about it just a second ago that everyone thinks the Chiefs are having a down year, but they're 15-2. Um, and I think that is because the Chiefs' offense hasn't looked all that great. Patrick Mahomes hasn't looked all that great. Their numbers haven't been all that great this season, but it's been that defense that's been great. And home field advantage. We all know when they get home field advantage in the playoffs, it seems like they have a different mindset going in this game, and it's very hard to play in this stadium. But Texas played better last week on defense. Showed some hope. So, who you guys got in this game, and tell me why. We'll start with you, Craig.
I think Kansas City. I mean, really, technically, the second loss I don't count. I mean, they didn't play anybody. They basically gave that in, whether it be to rest players, whether it be to avoid Cincinnati, whether it be to whatever. I don't count that loss, but the Texans played better than I thought they would in the game against San Diego. But I also think they're not going to get the same breaks that they got against San Diego. They're not going to get tip passes. They're not going to get four turnovers. They're not going to be able to fumble balls over the thing and run back for 30 yards and then throw 35-yard slant passes to wide open guys that are running down the field. You're just not going to get that. And if you had the Joe Mixon that showed up against the Chargers that gave you 112 yards of running offense and could be two dimensional, then maybe you have kind of a shot to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. But now we're saying that he might not play Saturday. So I just think, listen, I'm a huge D'Amico Ryan fan. He's gone in there and turned this team into something that we didn't think. We thought this was going to be years down the road before we saw this kind of success. And he is very defensive minded and has that team playing very well defensively. I just don't think they have the offense to keep up. When Kansas City has made the playoffs the last couple of years, Patrick Mahomes has been like, all right, here's another gear. We're going to run away and hide. And you're not going to have 50,000 people screaming for you. You're going to have 70,000 screaming against you. And the weather's probably going to be snowmageddon. And I just don't think they have what it takes to beat Kansas City. And that opinion was very unpopular Tuesday night in Houston Hotel and Bar. But it is what it is. I've watched both these teams play a lot this season, and just from what I've seen, I don't think Houston has a chance. Paul,
Yeah, it's interesting because you're going to need to play a really, really, really clean, good game to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And whichever way they can exploit you, they will, because they can. So, if you show any weakness or anything like that, you're not going to get what you got against the Chargers. You're not going to get four interceptions. Craig's totally right. And the Chiefs, man, they turned it on during the playoffs. I believe I read a report today that said that Patrick Mahomes will play. And I mean, dude, I used to, Brian, you're going to find this funny. Back in the day, like 15 years ago, when Rogers was in his prime, whooping our ass, maybe 13 years ago, whatever. Um, Me and David used to joke around, like, okay, so would you take Rogers with his right arm cut off, like with his right hand, just left-handed Rogers? And we were still like, probably over this guy, dude. I'll take Patrick Mahomes in a wheelchair. Like, you're gonna have to stop that kid from coming out there as well. And so yeah, he I could see him doing everything he can to get on that field and play. Because this is when it matters most, and this is when they're at their best, and they're flying under the radar. Um, like you said, Craig, they're 15-2, but they're not talked about as one of these better teams because statistically he's just not putting up those numbers. But that's okay. If you look at Patrick Mahomes' yards per game, they've actually gone down year to year because he's realized he doesn't have to be Mr. Big Play. He can rely on the different parts of the team. I mean, it's exactly what the Patriots were doing, and yeah, we're seeing it. So I'm with you, Craig. I think Houston has a chance to win and upset them, just because I think they could match up very well against them. Houston's got a pretty good secondary, but they're going to have to play a perfect game and some. So, it's highly unlikely. But yeah, Brian, what do you think?
I do think Texans have a chance more than Craig does. They've got to play, like I said, they've got to play a perfect game. They can't turn the ball over. One of the biggest things is they've got to control the clock. How do you beat Patrick Mahomes? You keep him off the field. They're going to have to control the clock. They're going to have to keep that defense tired from Kansas City. The problem is if Mixon ain't playing or he's injured or questionable, that's going to be hard to do. Teams don't run on the Kansas City Chiefs, and I mean, we talk about the Chiefs not having a good year, and I think because they have such high expectations, when we don't see them progressing every year in points scored and all that stuff on the offensive side of the ball, we kind of, oh well, they're not that good. Um, but it's still Patrick Mahomes. I want to choose the Texans, and I hope the Texans upset him, and we can laugh at Patrick Mahomes as he sits on the sideline in the playoffs like the rest of us. But I got the Chiefs winning this game. I just can't go against them. Not yet. I don't think they reach the Super Bowl this year, but I don't think the Texans. I like D'Amico's Ryan. I like what he's done with his football team. I like C.J. Stroud. I think he's regressed a little bit this year, but I just don't think right now is the moment for the Texans to get the big upset yet. So, um, I think most of the world probably thinks Kansas City wins, but I bet most of the world's betting or hoping that they don't. Um, could be the best game of the weekend is right after it. Commanders Lions, and the Lions are a good football team. We talked a lot about them, and the Commanders came out, beat the Bucks. They did what they had to do last week. They got the job done. They recovered a very important fumble, and they were able to win that game. And you kind of feel bad for Baker Mayfield giving it all he had, but um, I like Jane Daniels, man. He got his first win in the playoffs as a rookie. That was special to see. And but I think this is where it comes to an end. I think the Lions are just a stronger team, the well more coached team. It's hard to beat them in Detroit. Um, the everyone's like, well, all these injuries are gonna cost the Lions and they're gonna lose. It hasn't happened yet. They have all these injuries and they've been winning. Um, that next man up mentality, and I got the Lions winning this one. I think they're gonna be able to pressure Daniels into making a couple, maybe a couple interceptions, and I just don't know if this defense can slow down Goff right now. Goff has been, I mean, outsane in his completion percentage, and I got them winning. Do we know though? Is their running back?
David Montgomery is going to play,
Yeah, that's
um,
absolutely
and
insane.
and the um, and the defensive back they got hurt in the Minnesota game. He's going to play. Um,
I could picture his face. I can't picture his name though.
um, and
Who
sorry,
do you got? Who do you got in the game?
um, Derpy says Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Lions.
Good job. Good way to be on, Derpy. We missed you.
Um, I got the Lions. I just now this was both the best and the worst case scenario for the Lions because the best case scenario because they didn't want to have to play Green Bay or Minnesota a third time because when you play a team a
Yeah.
third time, things happen. But they also tend to struggle a little bit defensively against the mobile quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye on that for if Daniels gets out and starts to run and starts to run some of the RPOs and things like that without having Hutchinson, without having some of those guys. Do they have somebody? Does Aaron Glenn put a spy? Do they just assign somebody to Daniels and say, "Hey, that's your guy. I don't care where he goes. I don't care if he has the football. You go with him." Or do they try to play normal defense and see if this hurts them in the long run? But I think offensively, I don't think the the Commanders are built to especially in Detroit. That place is going to be insanely loud for a team who
Oh yeah.
had a good game, had a really good season, had a um, deep playoff run last year. They can sense that this year might be the same or more. Um, Everything has to go through Detroit. Um, I think that's hugely helpful. Last year they had to go to San Francisco, um, and so I think that's going to be hugely helpful to have the home field. I think we all know that the head coach is going to have him ready in Campbell, like he's going to have trick plays and fourth downs, and it's going to be all in for the next 2 weeks to get them to where he thinks they need to be. So I just listen. The Commanders are. This is great, and this is fun, but this wasn't supposed to be for a year or two. They're playing with house money. They have no expectations. So if they
Nothing to
go in
lose.
there and lose, it's not. They were supposed to lose last week, so they're playing with absolute house money. And I think they're going to be a team to look at for the next couple years as they start to get some draft picks, start to get some pay some guys. Um, and I think they're going to be a team to look at for the next few years. I just don't think Saturday is it. I think the Lions are just too much.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about Paul, but the I'm hoping they win it all almost because Ben Johnson can finally leave the Lions and they won't be as good as they are now. So, um, I don't get me wrong, I like Dan Campbell, but I really think on the offensive mastermind has been Johnson, and when he goes somewhere, hopefully this year, then well, hopefully the Lions will come back down to earth. They won't be as bad as they were, for a long time, but they'll come back down to earth a little bit, I think. But how do you feel
Yeah,
about it, Paul?
I think so too, and I think you know, for any team that hires Ben Johnson, I think they're kind of hoping for the Kyle Shanahan situation when he left the Falcons, where you just kind of knew that he's the guy behind the offense, he's the guy getting it done, and it was pretty much an easy transition to success for him to become a head coach. But yeah, I look at the Lions, and I don't know, I never, it's a division rival. I never liked them, can't really like them, but everybody around me, oh, we wants the Lions to win, wants the Lions to win, and it's a real good feel good story. But personally, I don't know. I don't really like them. I think it's interesting because the Commanders have, like you said, Craig, they were supposed to lose last week. They have like this magic going on. It's almost like I don't know, a little unexplainable in a way. And I think this would be the funniest upset. I think Houston against the Chiefs maybe a little bit more of a realistic possibility for an upset, but I think this one would be the absolute funniest. Like I would laugh if the Lions lose. And
Obviously, it would
honestly,
be funny.
yeah, it really would. Um, Jaden Daniels, I think I always go back to what Clay Matthews kind of said when they were facing the 49ers with Colin Kaepernick. Just hit him. We're just going to hit him. We're going to sit there and punish him. And, dude, that is the way you stop these mobile quarterbacks. Like, get to him. Get to him. And, I know Craig, you asked, are you going to put a spy? Why? So he can just juke the guy once he winds up running? Like, sometimes those spies, yeah, they matter, but sometimes they don't. And I think you just got to put pressure on the quarterback. You got to get to him all game. And you got to really rattle him in order to defeat a guy like that. But the problem is if you don't get to him, and he takes advantage of those plays. They're usually pretty big plays. And so you just got to go out there and get the job done. But I think the Lions are totally capable of doing that. And as much as I don't like Jared Goff, I mean, I could totally, I always say that the Rams traded him away so they could win a Super Bowl, which is kind of funny to me. Um,
I mean, and it worked.
and dude, they're in the playoffs right now too, right? So, um, I never expected Jared Goff to keep progressing the way he has. I mean, I got to give him credit. Like he's shaped his game. He's playing, his prime career football. I never thought his ceiling would be this high so consistently, but it is. And yeah, maybe a lot of that credit does go to Ben Johnson and the staff there. And man, I want to like Dan Campbell, but I just don't like Dan Campbell. I think there's aggressive, and then I think there's stubborn and stupid. He really walks
Yeah,
that
he
line all
walks
the
that
time.
fine
So,
line.
but he's really got the whole rah rah mentality, and he's got it covered so much that maybe it allows a guy like Ben Johnson to just do what he does.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a good balance they have going on there. Definitely, this is their window, even with all the injuries. I mean, with all these coaches leaving and getting opportunities and things like that, and eventually this window does start to close a little bit. So I think it is really do or die for the Lions more than
Yeah, I mean,
everybody
you could
else.
technically lose both your coordinators realistically, both your coordinators in the blink of an eye. I think Johnson turned it down last year because he said he had unfinished business. I don't know if that's the same excuse this year, even if they don't make it. Um, I think that was a 1 year good deal. Like I'll give you one more year.
I do think
But
he's
does he
going
want
somewhere
to be
this
a head
year.
coach? That's the question. And when he does become a head coach, does he continue to call plays, or does he turn that over to some offensive coordinator and let them deal and just be the head coach? Um,
So I'm a
I
little tuned in with this, like because he's a possible candidate for the Bears job and this and that. Ben Johnson did say that he would continue to call plays as a
Yeah,
head
why would
coach.
you give up your strength to
I
Schwinger
wouldn't
take
think so.
over?
I,
Yeah.
I just
Uh,
that's the thing
Yeah.
is I think you have to look
Well,
at
McCarthy did it with
right,
Dallas. He gave up.
right.
well, that's why
He
like
didn't he didn't the first year, but he did
Yeah.
afterward.
I don't know. In my mind, like did Belichick call plays?
No,
No, you just hire the right fucking people to call
right,
what you want, right? Like you're a
right.
head coach, and so at
And
some
that's what
point,
I'm saying. Do you
I,
just go? Do you say, "Hey, here's the sheet. I'll let you call it, but here's the plays we're running," or do you put that on yourself and and
You know,
and take a little bit, you know, of the dual responsibility?
I
That
give a
would
lot of
be
respect to Brian Dable when he became the Giants head coach because he got hired because he was the Bills play caller. And he went to the Giants and said, I'm not calling plays. We got a lot of other shit to worry about. And when it went
right.
south, eventually he took that back. Okay, I understand. But like in my mind, like that, yeah, you got to be a head coach. I have this fucking PTSD memory, and Brian's gonna laugh at me. And it was 2018 when we had a good season. It was the first game against the Packers when Rodgers went out. I thought we fucking tore his knee off, but no, he came back and beat us anyway. Um, but there was a first
Great
and
game.
goal. There was a first and goal, and we got a false start on it. And the camera shot over to Nagy, and he's just in this big play sheet, just blah, blah, blah. And it's like he didn't even notice. And I was so pissed because I'm like, dude, no, as a head coach, you have so many things that you have to worry about. Like, dude, that can't happen. You can't get false starts in the red zone. But when your coach doesn't care because he's too busy calling plays, like it's a trickle down effect, man. I want a head coach to be a head coach person. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, we've got a lot on the head coaching carousel. With McCarthy not being back in Dallas and the whole uh, Dion and all that crap, and
Yeah,
the,
Craig,
the
who do you think is going to wind up there? I mean, it's an interesting situation. How about this? I actually asked my buddy this. Do you think the Bears would be an upgrade in ownership for McCarthy?
I mean, I think
Like,
I think he now has a little more pull or a little more say. Whereas in Dallas, we all know who's pulling the strings in Dallas, and I think that's going to be the problem. Is going to be to try to find somebody that allows puppet master Jerry to run the show still. I don't think Deion Sanders will ever do that. That's why I don't think he comes here. Is because he would tell Jerry where to go, and that's never going to happen. Um, Plus, he can make more millions. He has the keys to Colorado. I just don't see him leaving right now. Plus, there's zero chance that Shadir Sanders comes here. There's no at 12 or 13. He's well off the board long before 12 or 13. You'd have to sell the farm to move up in the draft to get him. So I think there's zero chance it's Deion Sanders. A name I'm hearing that's interesting is Jason Witten. Um, he this isn't high school football. You don't have your kids playing. I mean, he's had 2 years of high school football. He did go undefeated and win a state championship in you know one
I
A.
think Jerry said that he'll be on the staff, coaching staff somewhere, but I don't know if it has a head coach. But he's, I think that's a like almost a done deal. He'll be on the coaching staff somewhere, but not as a head coach,
Right,
probably.
and so you have Leslie Frazier. You have
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. You
That's the
have
comfortable hire.
that's not happening. Kellen Moore. I don't think Kellen Moore comes back because of the way they parted ways with him. I don't think Moore walks back into that. I don't think Moore can hang his head and walk in the building and go, "Hi guys, I'm back." I don't think that's
Did you
a
hear? Well, real quick,
thing.
did you hear the piece they had on 1053? They did a piece on McCarthy of his all of his 5 years here and behind the scenes, and basically McCarthy is the one that pushed out Kellen Moore. So without
Oh yeah,
McCarthy, and if he had his chance to actually call his plays, I think that's where y'all go. Just because it's Jerry Jones' comfortable hire, a guy that he can control real easily, but
that would
it
make
wouldn't
sense.
it wouldn't be a good hire though.
But here's the deal. Jerry Jerry doesn't have much time left. He can say he does. He can say that he's going to do this until you put him in the ground, and he can say whatever he wants. He doesn't
Virginia's
have
103, by the
he
way.
has
The
he has
Kasky.
not a whole lot of time left to do this, and he doesn't like paying guys and letting them go. He likes letting them go when there's no money left in the contract. He let Garrett go for a couple extra years longer than he should have to pay the contract out. I believe that's why you didn't sign Mike McCarthy, because I believe Jerry wanted it to be a 1 or 2 year deal, so he could get, if Mike didn't have the success, he could get rid of him and not have the money on the back end to pay him. And McCarthy said, no, if you're going to hire me, I want security. I want 3, 4, I want a normal coaching contract. And Jerry said, okay, well, we're not going to do it then, because if you fail, I want to be able to get rid of you. And I can't, I'm not paying guys that don't work for me anymore. And that's a huge pet peeve of Jones's. That's why he holds on to these guys longer than
Who
they should.
I think the
you know.
Raiders are paying what, 2 or 3 coaches right
Right.
now?
They're paying Gruden. They're paying, now they're paying Pierce. They're paying 100 coaches and still don't have one. And Jerry just won't do that. Jerry just will not pay guys that just aren't on his staff. So there's a couple defensive deals in there. There's rumor that Zimmer might retire now and just hang it up. So it really is going to be interesting to see.
They have an
mean,
interview for Robert Sala, which
Yes, they
I
do.
think would be a good hire. He didn't get a good shake in it
Right.
with the
And
Jets.
and I don't know if what Salah's. I mean, because the Jets are ran about as
Yeah.
about as dysfunctionally as Dallas, with Woody Johnson. So I mean, if
Way
Salah could
more.
put up with that, he could probably put up with Jerry. Um,
I tell you what. So
I mean,
the the
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the
No,
Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Halfley is taking interviews. He interviewed for the Jets, and I'm like, if you leave, I'm going to punch you in the face. But if he leaves, and Robert Sala doesn't take a head coaching job, he's our defensive coordinator in Green Bay next year. Matt LaFleur and him are best buddies. When he got fired with the Jets, we hired him as a consultant on the team, and I wouldn't mind that hire as a defensive coordinator. But I hope we
right,
well,
keep
and
Jeff
and
Halfley.
there are some guys that are. We've talked about this.
Yeah,
There's some guys that are better coordinators than they are head coaches. I mean, look at what Flores has done. He was a dumpster
terrible.
fire as a head coach, but yet he's gone over to Minnesota and turned that defense into something that was very very good to speak of. You know, uh, there's been others that have been horrible,
yeah.
horrible. Kingsbury was a terrible head coach, but has the Minnesota or the Washington offense cooking. Scoring all kinds of points. And that's another name that's come up is Cliff Kingsbury.
Mm.
I don't see that happening. Another name that's come up, which I don't think is on the books, is the Texas head coach and Sarkeesian that they get him from Texas. I don't think he leaves
No.
Texas. He's got everything. He's got the keys to UT. He's got the keys to Austin. He's got Matthew
Why would you leave the
McConaughey.
quarterback when you got a?
I totally agree. And so you have to look through. Because it's the Dallas Cowboys, every name is on the table, and they think they can just have their choice. I really don't think. I think the choice is down to a couple names. I don't want Kellen Moore. But I mean, he is a possibility. But what gives me comfort is he came into the building today and left, and they didn't offer him a head coaching position. So that's comforting. Um, actually, they probably can't because he's still
He's still in the playoffs.
employed.
So
But
What were you gonna?
I was gonna say, there's a lot there, man. Like, number one, I think a lot of the best teams in this league, like especially look at the Chiefs. Um, Steve Spagnuolo's on the defensive side. You get guys with head coaching experience to run half the football. Dude, the Eagles have Vic Fangio. I was hoping the second John Fox left and we kept Vic Fangio on the Bears for a year with Matt Nagy. I was hoping, I was like, just give him like a 15-year contract, dude. I want a Dick LeBeau or a Dom Capers. You guys had that on the package for a long time. A guy that's
Mm-hmm.
just happy being a coordinator for dozen plus years. And because once you got that side of the football figured out, you got to figure it out. Like, he's a good coach. He's a good coach. Just keep him. And the problem is the money. Like Vic Fangio left. get a head coaching position because it pays more, right? So unless you're going to sit there and pay good money to these guys, they're going to be attracted to these head coaching positions and whatnot. But dude, Robert Sala, that's a fucking home run hire because he is a good defensive coordinator and he has head coaching experience now too, right? So you really it helps a lot to build a good staff that way and whatnot. And then when it comes to like ownerships, like you said the Jets, man, did you guys hear this stuff about the Jets?
It was absolutely insane, asinine.
Insane. Insane. They didn't make a trade for Jerry Judy because of his
Madden
son
ratings.
said he wasn't rated high enough in Madden. There was after they fired their coach, it took them 4 weeks to get a win. And the first win, Rodgers walked in the locker room with a game ball, and he was going to present it to the coach because it's his first win as a coach. And here comes Woody Johnson's kid with another ball, like talking some shit, giving it to Wilson or something.
Yeah,
Like
that's
these
insane,
players are
dude.
just disgusted with it. And so, like as much shit as Jerry Jones gets, um, I would not want my owner to be as involved as he is, especially. But at some point, it becomes white noise. Like it almost doesn't matter what he says anymore. He can say whatever the fuck he wants because it's already been said over and over and over. So it doesn't really create that much of an impact as other teams if their
Well, and even when he
owners came out
leaves,
and said something. But at the
even
end
when
of
he
the day,
leaves,
man, he's put together some talented teams.
right.
I'll give him that. They haven't gotten the job done necessarily. However, he hasn't failed. He's not terrible, and like you said, at least he has a business plan. Oh, I'm not going to sit there and pay multiple. Oh yeah, keep shaking your your head, but dude, the Giants and Eagles are two teams in that division that really kind of put up a fight every year, and like
Well,
Jerry Jones,
here's the problem with that statement about not failing. And it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it as the sense of, and this is the problem, Jerry looks at it as I'm worth 4 or 6 billion, whatever it is. People show up, I make a lot of money. Successful. They've won a lot of games. But if you look at it as the fan base, which I can only guess because I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan, but of the standard you set of championships, and you haven't even been in a sniffed NFC Championship game in how many years now? So I think that's where the line gets a little fuzzy
I
with it and how
understand,
you're looking at it. But
I
I mean,
understand,
he
but
did
like
win Executive of the Year 2 years ago. I mean, so I mean, even the NFL has recognized.
accent
Um,
coming in hard.
he's a good businessman, man. 30 plus years of ass.
Well, here's what
But
but
dude,
drives
what
me.
do you think? But that's what I'm saying though. Like honestly, Brian, you have what won in the last 25 years. Like at the end of the day, okay, sure, make the playoffs, don't make the like you either win the ring or you don't. You win the trophy or you don't. And so
yeah, I mean, one
honestly,
of
I'm like
32 teams gets to do
I'm
it every
wondering if
year.
the Cowboys. I mean, no, the Bears made it to an NFC Championship in 2010, a Super Bowl in 2006, but like a playoff
Like they're one of
appearance
the
in
like
2018. But like, dude, we're
I
not
think the
much better off,
Jaguars
dude.
have
Like,
have more NFC
yeah,
Championship games than the.
it's all the
It's
same
insane.
shit at the end of the day. And so, like, I know we kind of got off topic when we started
We
talking
did.
about all this,
That's okay.
but like, that's where I want to come back to with Lamar Jackson now. It's like, dude,
Okay.
you don't win this if you don't there's I think there's got to be the most pressure on him out of everybody else because if you don't win this, I don't get your third
You're
MVP. Okay, whatever. You're in the same boat as Craig and me.
you're
Like,
talking
you're just
you're
not winning it.
talking you're talking two guys that aren't big Lamar Jackson fans.
And
And
I wasn't either, but
And that's an understatement.
I
now
had to appreciate what's in front of me, man. Like I wasn't either. I really wasn't either, but at the end of the day, I can't deny what he's doing, man.
let's save that game for the last. I want the Ravens Bills to be last. It's the last game, so
I thought I'd
let's
try and
get in.
transition it at least. So
Oh no, you're good. You did a good job there. This is the hardest game for me to pick was the Rams and Eagles. It was. I'm not a big believer in the Eagles offense. I mean, Saquon Barkley is good. They didn't play very well against the Green Bay Packers last week. We shot ourselves in the foot, and Jordan Love was turning the ball over left and right, and
Well, I mean, you give
we
them
weren't.
turnover on the first play of the game, which to
Which
me
the
is not a
Eagles,
turnover.
yeah, the ref screwed us on that one.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's clearly laying on the ground and covers the football up, and then they're like, huh, I didn't see that.
You can see it clear as day. Even the announcers
Um,
are like, "It's the Packers' ball," and they come out,
right.
"Eagles' ball." What the? Anyways, we're not.
So,
I'm trying to put that in the past, but yeah, they didn't play very well. They didn't play too great against us last week. Rams came out and they laid it on Minnesota. Minnesota was frauds, and Sam Darnold pissed down his leg. I got the Rams winning this one. I really like what they did. Their offense, they've got weapons, and the thing is they're finally healthy. They got their tight end back in Higby, which was a beast last week. Puka, Cooper Cup, and the reason why I picked the Rams last week is you got veteran Matthew Stafford who knows how to win these big games versus a Sam Darnold. He's going up against Hurts. I'm not a big believer in Hurts. They have the offensive weapons, and their defense is good. It's going to be, I think this is a 27-24 game winning field goal. Rams win it to upset the Eagles and send them on packing. And I think the shoe finally drops, like we talked about, Craig, as far as the Eagles and the offense and everything. So
if I could
I
go
got
first
the
real
upset.
quick,
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
then I got to take a quick sec. But dude, the Eagles are a better team. They are. The Rams, in my opinion, were not even supposed to be where they're at,
Mm.
but they are where they're at, and they have the chance to do the funniest thing ever and go up against the Lions and have Matt Stafford beat Jared Goff.
To go to the Super Bowl.
Because, like I said, they literally got rid of Jared Goff so they could win one. If they could win two that way, I think that would be hilarious. But dude, I always say coaching this league, um, it matters a lot when the team sucks. Like you look at what Sean Payton's doing, that's a work of art right there. You know what I mean? Um, a lot of guys could like ride it out and be mediocre, but then it matters a lot again now. And so now is when you see some of these best coaches getting the job done. Like the Rams are just a damn good coach team.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really are. And they're going to scheme up a game plan that's going to attack you. And they're going to play clean football. So, just like I said for the Texans, like you're going to need to come out and have a really, really good game. And I've seen it before. I've seen the Eagles implode.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, I guess there's a chance that I want to say the Eagles are the better team, but yeah, when it comes to the moment, it's do or die. The Rams have a damn good shot at winning this game for sure.
All right, Craig.
I think the Rams have a chance from the standpoint of what's going on in California, and they cause the distraction and give people in LA something to root for. They played a much better game than I thought they would play against Minnesota. Um, with the game being moved, with the game, I mean, there was a lot going on there, and you still came out and put a very, very solid game together, offensively and defensively. I mean, 9 sacks. That's
Ties a playoff record.
something you're not going to hear of. Talk about something that I don't know if you'll do against Philly, but if you put Jalen Hurts under that much pressure, he'll fold.
Yeah.
Can Saquon Barkley bail him out? I don't know. I like the Rams defense. I think you might be right. I think we might see the other shoe drop finally. But as a better team, it should be Philly. But I like what the Rams are doing right now. And if you don't think Stafford's got motivation to go into Detroit and ruin,
Wouldn't that
be
be
the
something?
reason, they don't finally get one. Um,
Our Are you choosing the Rams? Or you choosing the Eagles?
I I I, I I'm on the fence here, but I think
Good stuff.
I wanna I want to say that the Rams could win this football game, and I don't like Philadelphia, so give me the Rams.
All right, awesome. All right. So far, Jeff chose the Texans. Me and you both chose the Chiefs. Um, as a lot of people are choosing the Chiefs. Paxton says three-peat. I don't know if Axton is a Chiefs fan. I'm guessing yes, since the celebrating emojis there. Thank you, Axton, for jumping on the podcast here. Um, we all got the Lions beating the Commanders, although I would love the upset there. And then me and you got the Rams, and Jeff went with the Eagles. So, um, I just I'm a big fan of Stafford. Always have been. And I just
He
that's a
played a whole lot better, like I said.
and they were healthy
We
last week. They finally got
and
healthy.
like we said before, there's two versions of this team: the team that put up 40 against Buffalo, and the team that put up six the next week against Arizona. Um, the team that had a better chance to hang 40 was the team that showed up against Minnesota. You get 9 sacks against Jalen Hurts, and he's going to be in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Now the offensive line is better, but
right,
and
right,
I don't think Hurts is. Sam Darnold killed him. He held on to the ball for 18 seconds
right,
and took
right.
25-yard sacks. It's
He's
just
up there he's up there pitching a tent, sending smoke signals,
he was a deer in
you
the
know,
headlights.
right. He just saw ghosts, and he saw him against Detroit, and he was still seeing them now, and 100% Darnold caused probably 4 of those sacks
That
by holding on to the football.
that poor guy was 2 games away from making a big contract, and now no one's like, you can come be our backup.
Now he might be holding a clipboard.
He might be back up to Aaron Rodgers.
Oh man, wouldn't that be funny if Aaron Rodgers went to Minnesota? I would laugh so
Hilarious.
hard. I would
Follows the
laugh
same timeline as
You know
so
what I
hard.
heard today?
what's
What?
that?
Listen to this. Wrap your brain around this.
Well, I'm ready.
Tomlin said that he's not committed to a quarterback, Wilson or Deal. Take a guess on if they hire an offensive coordinator in Mike McCarthy. If he doesn't get a head coaching job, he goes to Pittsburgh, goes to the offensive coordinator. They get Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers.
and put the band back together. And
I would laugh.
Tomlin goes and lets him play in Pittsburgh.
So from
He'd have a good defense.
from like my point of view, and a lot of my friends share the same opinion. It's you guys should have won more because you had Rodgers.
Oh yeah,
Like you won
That's
despite McCarthy.
we should have won more.
And Joe Philbin was the damn offensive coordinator. Rodgers was the most sacked quarterback that season. He carried that damn thing that year. And honestly, if there was more right going on around him, if they were also drafting him some kind of weapons here and there, if they handled that situation better, they technically, I believe, really should have put up more of a fight than they did. Um,
We should have
and
won more
so
with Favre and Rodgers.
I wouldn't
But,
want. Yeah, I wouldn't want McCarthy. Man, I really don't want McCarthy. I might wind up with him here.
um, I don't think you want
You
McCarthy. I think we won
guys want a
despite
fun little
McCarthy.
stat?
What's a
Mike
fun little stat?
McCarthy has won, or I mean, has lost 11 playoff games in his career. There's only one other coach coaching right now that has also lost 11 playoff games.
Andy Reid.
Nope. Good guess.
Hmm.
Craig?
Well, Tomlin's lost 6 in a row, so he's got to be close.
Mike Tomlin has also lost
Yeah.
Wow.
11 play. But
Well, he's not in the playoffs anymore. That's why I'm thinking of the
there you go.
coaches here. I'm like, wait, but no,
No,
no.
but I mean, you look at the vibe around those two guys, it's completely different. But you look at their records and their accomplishments, and it's extremely similar.
Yeah,
You know what I
Tomlin's
mean?
never had a losing season.
Right. So, like, here I am as a Bears fan, and like, I don't want McCarthy, but at the end of the day, I'm like,
He'd be your
who am
best.
I?
He'd be
Who am
your
I to
best.
not want McCarthy?
Yeah,
Right? Like,
yeah.
I really wanted Mike Rabel. Like, I thought that was the best guy out there to just
We
go and get
I
the
knew the
job done.
second they fired I knew the second they fired their guy that Vrabel was going to be. They just had to go in and interview somebody of the African American descent to cover the Rooney Rule, and then they could
Yeah,
hire Vrabel.
See, I think that's what Dion
unfortunately.
is to Jerry. It's the Rooney Rule get through, and then we're gonna go hire someone else. But
Yeah. Meanwhile, and so like I just
I
wanted to
didn't
kind of
think
throw
about
this out
that,
there too.
but
Like,
that was
so we talk about bad ownerships. Meanwhile, Jim Irsay's out there at a bar somewhere doing double shots with Jeff Saturday, being like, "You're gonna coach. You're gonna coach."
I,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's
with
seeing
bars
worse
of
out there.
Xanax.
Like, yeah, we you mentioned Jason Witten. Like, it's not as crazy as the Jeff Saturday thing. Like,
seeing
that's
these
seen
seeing
And
worse.
these
he actually did okay, and they thought they were going to rehire him.
Uh,
seeing these terrible, horrible nightmares of owners and hearing the stories, it makes me glad that Green Bay doesn't have an owner. So we're not locked into an owner that can just
Brian's
ruin the
part.
whole organization.
Brian's part owner.
I wish. I ain't paying $300 for a piece of paper though. So
and that's all it is, man.
if
It's
it
Yeah,
did, if
that's a
it
with
did
no vote.
something, if
that's
it
Yeah,
did
that's the
something
scam
for
if I've
me,
ever seen a
yeah.
scam.
you get to draft. You get to pick the draft guy.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah. Anyways, all
I'm
right, guys.
one
Well,
eight hundredth of a GM.
yeah. If I did though, that bad boy would be plaqued up right here, and I'm an owner, baby. Let's go. But
I
it doesn't
used to,
do anything, so it's not.
About the
It's
yeah,
same.
worthless.
About the same stake that Tom Brady has.
Yeah.
right.
How
I
you
used
gonna
to
own a team
for a
and then?
job. I used to go service like certain warehouses, and one of the quality managers I had to check in with. That's what he had in his office. The fucking framed plaque of
Mhm.
such a joke, man. Every
I
time.
I I should just put it up for you. I got a big huge picture, a framed picture of Lambeau Field. Anyways, Ravens Bills. All right, this is the last game of the weekend. Two weird time slots. First of all, Rams and Eagles start at 2 p.m. and the Ravens and Bills are at 5:30, which I appreciate doing a little early for the guys that got to get up early in the morning. So Ravens Bills. This is the prove it game for Lamar Jackson. Lamar, we talked about it. We talked about it, Craig, plenty of times. How he chokes in the playoffs, doesn't get the job done. This is the prove it game. He's to go into Buffalo and win this game. He's got the most pressure on my. I believe you're right there, Paul. He's got the most pressure from anybody in the playoffs to get the job done. Um, and right there behind him, I think, is Josh Allen. You know, so this is gonna be a tough game. The Ravens blew out the Bills, but they played them really early in the season. It was like 35-10. How do you shut down Derrick Henry and Lamar from rushing the football, make them one dimensional? This is gonna be I think this is going to be a high scoring 34-31 victory, but I got the Bills winning this one. I think Josh Allen deserves the MVP over Lamar Jackson. I think he's put this team on his back this year. I thought when we talked about early in the season that before the season started that the Bills were going to fall off, and Josh Allen has almost single handedly just kept that from happening. Um, I got the Bills at home. It feels like it's destiny for us to be having another Bills versus Chiefs AFC Championship game again. So they're playing in Buffalo. I'm sure the weather's gonna be cold as all get out. I don't know if it's gonna be snowing, which would be awesome to see a snow game. But I got Buffalo Bills winning this. I think this is Josh Allen's time to shine, and but Lamar has something to say about it too. So we'll see what happens. This is gonna be a great weekend of football, guys. I mean, looking at all four of these games, yeah, you definitely have something to get excited about. Greg, what do you think about this game, the Bills or the Ravens?
Okay, well, it's going to be roughly 8 degrees with 40-mile-an-hour winds and 3 feet of snow.
Oh my gosh, that bodes well for the rushing
Lamar
team.
Jackson has never played in a game under 27 degrees in his life. Um,
I hate to cut you
you
off. Do you
want to
remember that
talk?
one like snow game where like I think the Patriots like attempted like three passes against the Bills or
Right.
something, and the Bills coach was just so pissed off. The
Like
press conference.
I think they plow the
Yeah.
field at halftime. By the time they get done plowing one end, you won't be able to see the yard mark. Jackson hasn't played in a game under 27 degrees. You want to talk about literally he's going to pee down his leg. Lamar Jackson will look horrific in this game. I don't know. I understand the stats. I get it. I get it. But if you watch the game, he's about the most inaccurate quarterback with those kind of stats in the history of football. Buffalo is going to put pressure on him. They're going to have a pass rush. I think the only thing that saves Baltimore is going to be Derrick Henry, but I don't know what Henry's got for Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins. Now, listen, I mean, Jared Allen's 4-0 with temperature under 40 degrees, but that kind of weather is going to limit this. It will not be, there will not be 30 points on one side of the ball. It doesn't matter who it's going to be with that kind of weather. Now, I mean, I don't know if that's really going to be an accurate um, okay, so yeah, 18 degrees and snow. Pretty accurate.
Gotta love football, man. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Um, Listen, I think Buffalo wins this game 97 times out of 100. I just don't think. I mean, unless Lamar Jackson. I mean, unless the Ravens can just run Derrick Henry for and control the clock and keep Allen off the field. I think the Bills win by 10 points. And keep in mind that the Ravens field goal kicker has been not great.
He's been
with
goofy.
And with those kind of winds and that kind of snow and footing and yeah yeah
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I'm talking to two guys who live in Texas. Right.
Yep.
You guys are afraid of like an inch, right? Like an inch.
It snowed about 3 inches last week, and we shut down for a couple days.
Yeah. Oh, so, right.
I got at my house. I got about 5, almost 6, in 2 days.
Wow.
But we still worked, but which is shocking. But
yeah, that's why Buffalo's awesome, man, because they get like 10 feet.
Yeah.
And they're just used to it. They're cool with it.
The
Baltimore
Bills
Baltimore
Mafia goes and plows
snow,
the stadium for them before the game with no shirts on.
Right, but at the end of the day, so like, it's kind of why I brought up that snow game between the Patriots and the Bills, where they only attempted 3 passes. At the end of the day, like, we might just be better off running the ball depending on the conditions, like the conditions during the game. If it's too windy,
and I mean,
hell, your shitty kicker might become a good kicker. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's going to affect the game completely by both teams. I mean, it being that cold, being that windy, it could be a better chance for Baltimore because it takes the ball out of Josh Allen's hands.
It does, and I feel like these two teams are just on 2 different trajectories. Right. I feel like Buffalo was supposed to be rebuilding. We're supposed to suck a little bit this year, but they haven't. They've exceeded expectations. The Ravens, it's do or die for them. Like I said, if Lamar doesn't win, I mean, you just enter a conversation that's pretty shitty. But if you do win, if you get that one Super Bowl win, along with 2 MVPs or whatever, oh man, you're going down in history, right? So it's such a big game for the Ravens.
Well, now that I know it's snowing and they might not throw the ball, it makes me change my score. I think the Bills still win the football game, but at the end of the day, the weather itself bodes better for the better rushing team, and the better rushing team is obviously Baltimore. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, like you said, Lamar hasn't played in a game under what 40, whatever you said it was,
One and
Craig.
seven.
But like you
Um,
also said, why wouldn't you just run Derrick Henry to the ground? Could you imagine trying to tackle that thing
a freight train.
in that weather? It's not gonna be fun, man.
You know, one good shot to Lamar in the cold. Whoo, he's gonna think twice about running. But
So one of
it'll
my
be interesting.
big knocks on Lamar has been that he only plays 75% of the games. I believe this year he played every game, right? So, hey, maybe it's saying that he's due, or maybe it's saying that he's really all in because, dude, when you play this style of quarterback, even with the effectiveness that he has, I still see him all the time taking shots, going out, holding this part of his body, holding that part of the body. It never seems to last. He goes right back out there and does it again. But I'll tell you what, your career is going to suffer. You're not going to have this 15-year career like all these quarterbacks do. You're looking more of like a Cam Newton career where it's 7, 8 years, and like your body's going to give out because you keep
Where
taking
I
shit.
lost all respect from Lamar Jackson was 2 seasons ago. He had an injury, and it was questionable on whether he could play. But the playoff game came, he didn't even show up. He
Not
stayed
even on
home.
the sideline. Yeah, like,
And if you are this MVP team leader, best guy in the deal, best guy in the locker room, and you leave your 28 guys out there on the sideline by themselves, that to me is
it was his contract here too.
right.
So yeah, we
That
talked
to
about that
me is
heavily.
I would
But
have told you where to go. You would not have been the quarterback of my football team. But
Yeah, I lost respect for him for a different reason. I've first of all, the Ravens traded back. They had him on the board, and they traded back and passed him up. And when he was still on the board, I think they wound up getting the last pick of the first round, they wound up drafting him. And then Harbaugh proceed. He might be the best coach in the league, to be honest with you, because what they did there was they created a complete offensive game plan that was very, very, very comfortable for him to be able to grow and progress and become the quarterback that he is. Like my friend David is giving me shit because he's like, "Oh, a couple of years ago you said you wouldn't have traded for Lamar." I was like, "Dude, even if we did, we wouldn't know what to do with him." Like, there's been progress here to get him to the point of where he's at. And when it came to contract time, the Browns made a fool of themselves with Deshaun Watson, giving him as much, and Lamar goes, "I want that." What? We did everything for you. We bent over backwards for you. Like, we created a whole offense to suit you, and you want to cripple us financially with money? That's when I kind of lost a lot of my respect for him. But it's to me, it's not about respect. It's about the production. At the end of the day, what he did this year, like I can't keep denying that he's not a good quarterback in this league. I don't think he'll last very long. But like what he's doing is really damn good. Like you can win with that. You can, for sure.
well, and it's the thing I worry about with Jaden Daniels. I really like Jaden Daniels. He had a one heck of a year, but he takes a lot of hits, and
Yep.
he is not a very big guy. He's kind
that's
of
the last
tiny.
quarterback in Washington that acted like that.
Yeah,
How long he
RG3.
lasted.
RG3.
He was a flash in the pan. He was fun to watch, but then it didn't last too long. And I think Jane does a better job at getting out of the way and not taking those shots. And the thing with Cam Newton is he was such a big body guy. He was trying to lay you out like a linebacker, and they're like, dude, calm down. You're a quarterback. Um,
Yeah, and dude, I'm huge on that because in my opinion, the reason I would have sat Caleb is because he got sacked 60 something times this season. Like there was no need to just go out there and keep getting sacked. Craig, the reason
run
why you
into a
guys
brick wall.
drafted a quarterback in the fourth round and he did great is because you had the best offensive line in the damn league. Um, like there's ways to progress these guys, and sacks and hits are not it. I remember always watching Carson Wentz in his rookie year, and against the Bears in like week 2 or 3, he ran up the sideline and had a chance to. He got the first down, had a chance to go out of bounds, but instead he cut back in and took a lick from Urlacher. He was 22, 23 years old, popped right back up to his feet. But I remember thinking, like, kid, you're not going to last, and he didn't.
That's what happened with
Like the injuries and everything caught up
Jimmy
with him. Like
Jimmy
this,
Garoppolo. Did the same thing. Had a
yeah,
chance
same
to get out of
thing. Like
bounds, stepped back in, and he blew his Achilles. He got hit
so,
and blew his knee out.
it's one of the things I actually really like about Caleb, other than the sacks he's taken. When he does rush, he'll slide way short. Doesn't care. You
Way
know what I
short.
mean? Like, yeah, why not? Like, go out of bounds, slide, be careful.
Thank the Lions for that.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, like, you terrorize people that way because at the end of the day, they can't even get a lick on you. Like with Jaden Daniels, sure, he might get the big play on you, but hey, you still finish it off with a little contact there or something. Like that stuff does add up in the long run. And yeah, I hear you there, um, but Lamar, that he does it so effectively, right? Like, and I
Yeah.
know you said he's off target passing at the dude. They're literally Zay Flowers extend the ball fumble away from beating the Chiefs last year. Like that little end zone fumble that became Chiefs ball
They're
really turned
also,
that home game
is that
around.
a Deontay Johnson toe away from beating the Chiefs?
Right, but I mean, they're good enough. Like when it comes down to those little things, like they can get it done. Um, but like so can Buffalo, dude. That's why I think it's hilarious with Houston. That's why Houston would be the biggest upset because what should happen is CJ Stroud should get smacked in the face and see what Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have been dealing with for like 3, 4 years now. You know what I mean? Because yeah, Patrick Mahomes, man, he's the one that keeps getting it done day after day after day after day. So like you said earlier, oh, they should have lost 5 games. Yeah, but they didn't, and somehow they keep not. Like they keep winning, 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 and that's the thing that kind of haunts all these teams. It's like, yeah, the Bills are great. Josh Allen might put up MVP numbers. Dude, he's definitely done it in more of an uphill battle than Lamar Jackson has. Like I said, they should have been rebuilding. But at the end of the day, I think it's all fun and games because I don't know. I still think the Chiefs are just going to take home the trophy and laugh at us because we
I
thought they
don't
were
think
having
so.
a down year, man. I don't know. Yeah, I gotta
But
I gotta
I don't
see
blame you
something
for
different.
going. I don't blame you for not going any other way because it's what we've seen the last billion years. It seems like. But well,
Yeah.
I think that's gonna wrap this episode up. We had to do it tonight. We usually do it Saturday, but me and Craig got a party to go to tomorrow night, so we will not be on. And I wanted to get the predictions out of the way before the games happen. We'll be back on Tuesday night and go over the games of the weekend. And we've been putting out a little more stuff. Craig, Jeff's been getting those videos out and funny gifs out, and so we're putting out more content. So we've had some new guys in the chat today. So keep coming on, clicking and subscribing, and follow the page and join us live and comment and let us know what you think. So thank
Yeah,
you,
and
Paul, for joining the show,
for
bud.
sure. Thank you for having me on. My Bears content has slowed down extremely since the playoffs started. But my co-host David does do like an NFL show weekly on Tuesdays at around 6:30 p.m.
Oh,
Central. So
nice.
yeah, if either of you guys are ever available for that time slot, more than welcome to come on and hop on and join, and we can try and help promote your channel and whatnot. But dude, as always, just thank you for your time and
Right.
thank you for having me on. It's been like 2 weeks since I've been able to talk a little football, so it's nice for me to be able to do so. Because god damn it, my team does not make the playoffs. So
Yeah, when my team do, they usually shoot themselves in the foot. So, but yeah, it's tough because we do the sportscast, but after football season, man, it's our content goes down a little bit, and we got to lean on NBA and all that crap, which NBA is tough to watch nowadays. But that's a whole different story. But all right, Craig, you got anything else?
Nope, that's about it.
All right, guys. Well, that's the episode today. Paul, again, thank you, sir. Um, God bless and remember.
Keep it outspoken.
Nice. I didn't think we'd go an hour and 5 minutes, but that was good.